Peabody, the South's Grand Hotel. Southern novelist and historian David Cohn once wrote that the Mississippi Delta begins here in the lobby of the Peabody Hotel and ends Catfish Row down in Vicksburg, Mississippi. And then if one were to stand in this lobby, ultimately they will be witness to everybody who is anybody passing through the Delta. That phrase is true today as it has ever been. But the Peabody Hotel was first established back in 1869, a couple blocks from here at Main and Monroe. In 1925, we expanded, relocated to here, 149 Union Avenue, but throughout all of that history, the Peabody has proudly served as the social center for the city of Memphis. In fact, after the Duck March, I invite you to visit our memorabilia room. It's right up the way on the steps here. The beautiful glass room up on the mezzanine. In there we have artifacts and stories unique to the Peabody's long history. For example, there we host portraits of presidents and stars who have graced our halls over these years. We have played host proudly to every sitting U.S. president since Harry Truman here at this hotel. We have up there a piece of Elvis Presley's original RCA contract, which was negotiated, typed, and signed here in this very lobby on our stationery, no less. But up there, ladies and gentlemen, we host my favorite artifact, a simple memo written by our general manager regarding the menu over at Schaeferly, explaining that we could have absolutely no duck served on any menu here at the hotel. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're gathered, of course, to witness the march of the Peabody Ducks. But if you've not done so before, it may surprise you to learn that our whole tradition here got started with a practical joke. Back in 1933, our general manager, Mr. Frank Shutt, and his friend Chip were out hunting in Arkansas. They had brought with them, it was pretty common at that time, some live duck decoys to help them hunt. But the gentleman also brought with them on this trip a bottle of Jack Daniels. Now, admittedly, they focused a bit more on that whiskey. Never quite got around to hunting, so they were surprised. And they returned to the hotel and found that they had forgotten to leave those 3 English call ducks back at the farm. So they improvised by sneaking the ducks into the hotel lobby and sending them loose into our fountain instead. Now, of course, these young gentlemen retired to their rooms for the night, but when the general manager came down that next morning, all he was expecting were stories of the staff chasing ducks around the lobby, getting them out of the hotel in general, covering up his prank from the night before. But instead, he found those ducks had stayed in the fountain the entire night long. And once more, a crowd of guests had gathered around, gawking at the ducks. The general manager ran over, apologized, told him he'd get this cleaned up right away, and people would never see ducks here at the hotel again. The people protested, said they loved the ducks, and insisted instead we should let them stay as our guests. Ladies and gentlemen, we've continued to honor that request. We have had ducks as permanent residents at this hotel for over 80 years. But in 1940, things changed drastically when we hired a bellman, Mr. Edward Pembroke. And Mr. Pembroke was not just a bellman, he was also a retired animal trainer with Rayleigh Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. And he proposed to us that if he was given the opportunity, he could train our North American knives to march across the rooftop, ride down the elevators, and then march down the red carpet into our log fountain every morning at 11 o'clock, and there they would stay until 5 p.m. when you guys and I left out, marching back up the red carpet, up the elevators, and back to their room. All this done to music, no less. He proposed that to management. They were skeptical, obviously, but told him that if he could figure all that out, fine. Go ahead and march ducks for as long as you'd like. Mr. Pembroke went on from that day to train and march ducks here at this hotel for the next 50 years. And he also took the ducks all across the country, helped make them known the world over. They were on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, featured in People magazine. He and the ducks even made a very special guest appearance on Sesame Street for National Rubber Ducky Day. And Mr. Pembroke did so much for the hotel, but especially for our ducks that he was named the world's first duck master. My name is Anthony. I'm actually only the 5th duck master since 1940, and in just a few moments, it will be my honor to continue our tradition here for you. So the king got the march on us, out of the fountain, march back up the red carpet, up the elevators, and back to their rooms. And I do ask that we're here in the main lobby that we remain seated comfortably during the march itself, as we're along the carpet, the entrance to the elevator, that we do keep those areas clear. Please resist the urge to reach out and pet the ducks. These are wild animals visiting with us after all. But finally, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, please take as many flash photos as you like. You are all guests of this here today at Peabody, and this march is for you. On behalf of the ladies, gentlemen, ducks here at the hotel, I thank you all for joining us. Have a wonderful night. Thank you.
Please. Welcome to the historic Peabody Hotel. At the center of the grand lobby, the point where the Mississippi Delta has been set to begin, stands the classic Peabody fountain, carved from one piece of the Italian travertine marble. Although famous in its own right, the fountain is better known the world over because of its grandeur. If I may direct your attention to the fountain now, you will witness a tradition begun in the 1930s at the South Grand Hotel, an experience uniquely yours as a guest of the Peabody. Preparing to return to their penthouse on the plantation roof for the night, ladies and gentlemen, the march of the world-famous Peabody Ducks.
Say goodnight. Very good job. Very fine. Ladies and gentlemen, all right, everybody down to the floor. Thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful night. Duckies out on sea. Very nice. Very fine. Let's stay on carpet, duckies. Very nice. Very good.